In today's video, we'll be talking about the newest release from Initio, and that is Narcotic Delight. If you're interested in hearing my full review, then just keep watching. Before we get into the video, I do want to quickly introduce myself for those of you who may be new here. My name is Ayesha from simplyayesha.com. Here on YouTube, I make videos about fragrance, beauty, luxury, and lifestyle. If those are things you're interested in, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So as I said, in today's video, I'll be giving you guys a full review of Narcotic Delight, but along with that, we're gonna talk about some other fragrances that are kind of in the same family as this fragrance. Now, initially, I was going to include this in a Boozy fragrance video. However, I pulled out my fragrances for that video and something in me said, Ayesha, look up this video that you did of this before. So I looked up my previous video that I talked about Boozy fragrances, and I felt like so many of them were the same that there was no point in doing that same video over. So if you want to know about more Boozy fragrances, not including this one because it just came out, but if you want to know about more Boozy fragrances, definitely check out my video. I will link it. I did it last year, but I watched it and I still feel the same way about those fragrances. So if you're interested in that, then go ahead and check that out. But in this video, we will talk about some alternatives, if you will. So let's go ahead and get into this review. So the fragrance in question is Narcotic Delight from Initio. So this fragrance is something that when I saw the promo images for it, I knew I was getting it. I knew I was gonna blind buy it. I pre-ordered this fragrance from the Initio website. And so now that I am doing this video, I've actually had this fragrance for about 4 or 5 days at this point, and I've been wearing it consistently. So I really wanted to do that so I can give you guys more of a review and not so much of a first impression. Now, y'all know sometimes I do the Love, Like, or Let Down series. If you don't know what that is, those are videos in which I give you guys my first impressions on camera, wear it for a while, and then I come back within that same video and let you guys know what I think about it. However, for this one, I couldn't do that because I did pre-order this blindly, but when I was in the mall one day, I was able to smell this. So I was able to smell it before it actually got to me. So technically I couldn't give you my first impression. So I decided to do this video this way instead. I hope y'all enjoy it. Anyway, let's talk about how this baby smells. So at first sniff, I'm gonna tell you it was a love for me, okay? This fragrance is right up my alley. When I first smell this, it is sweet, it is dark. I feel like I can pick up on some cherry. I definitely pick up on the booziness. And I believe cognac is the liquor in here. That's what it smells like anyway. And then there smells like there could be like a little bit of cinnamon in here that is giving it a bit of an additional spice. Overall, it's a very rich smelling scent. And I'm not talking about rich as in money. I'm talking about rich as in like people would say a dessert is rich. It smells like that. This does kind of lean in the gourmand direction because I do feel like the cherry in here is prominent, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a cherry scent, but I do feel like I can definitely pick up the cherry, and the cherry in this smells very delicious. It does not smell medicinal at all. It smells like juicy, dark, and then a beautiful high-end liquor to go with that and a little bit of spice. Now, when this fragrance dries down, I do feel like all those notes stick around. However, the base notes start to come in more, and I feel like it develops a bit of a smoky woodiness in addition to how it smells at the opening. So when this fragrance dries down, to me, it definitely changes a bit, but it still holds on to what made me fall in love with it at the beginning. So just to reiterate, at the beginning, I'm getting a rich, boozy cherry with a little bit of cinnamon. As the fragrance continues to dry down and throughout the wear of the fragrance, woodiness starts to come into play. Also a little bit of smokiness, although I wouldn't necessarily call this a smoky fragrance. Now, I know I'm classifying this as a boozy scent, and some of you women are going to think, oh, I'm not into boozy scents, but I definitely think this fragrance sits right in the middle. I think it's sweet enough that a lot of women will enjoy it, but I also think there's enough depth, enough booziness to it that men will enjoy it as well. Now, let's talk about projection and longevity. So this fragrance lasts forever on my skin and on my clothes. I will say that I was able to get like 8 to 10 hours out of this fragrance on my body that's on my skin. I've tested this in multiple weather conditions. I've tested it with multiple lotions and all that, and I was able to get the same kind of longevity no matter what. So it actually worked out that since I've had this fragrance, we have had like some big weather differences. So one day it was like 85 degrees, and then like today it's like 60 degrees as a high. And it started out at like 47, which is cold for us. So I've been able to test this in varying weather conditions, and longevity has always been there. However, projection, not so much. Now, for those of you who like a fragrance that will announce your presence before you walk in, she is not it, okay? She is not it. This fragrance is one of those fragrances that I foresee as something that I'm going to wear on like a date night or something like that, because it does sit relatively close to the skin. And one time my husband did comment on this fragrance. He said he liked it, and he said it's soft, not like some of those other fragrances you wear. And I agree. This is a very distinct smell, and it's a very like sensual smell, but it is not a smell that is going to punch you in the face. So this is definitely for like closer sitting, more intimate occasions. I feel like this fragrance would work for that type of occasion. Also, kind of go along with that, I do feel like this fragrance is better suited for nighttime, and I actually think it's good for year round because it's not too cloying. Although it is a sweet fragrance, to me it doesn't get too cloying, and so I feel like I'll be able to wear this year round. And I'm glad that we had that like 85-degree day with the sun out because I was really able to test it in hot weather, and it was not too cloying at all. I personally didn't really like wearing this during the daytime per se. Not that I hated it, but to me this just feels like a nighttime type of fragrance. So if you get this, don't expect it to be a beast mode fragrance. Although it does last and it does give you a bit of a scent bubble, people across the room are not gonna smell you wearing this. So overall, as I'm sure you guys can tell, I really enjoy this fragrance. This is a love for me. This is something that I see myself being able to wear a lot, and I just really couldn't get enough of the smell. I do have some other fragrances that I want to compare this fragrance to and to tell you a bit more about these other fragrances. So I kind of just put these like in the same family. So the first fragrance I'm going to compare it to is one of its brothers or sisters, and this is Side Effect from Initio. Now the reason I'm comparing it to this is because this is another Boozy scent from the brand, and I've seen, like, I haven't watched anybody's reviews on Narcotic Delight yet, and I haven't like read any reviews, but just like scrolling through social media, I've seen like little headlines of stuff and people comparing Side Effect and Narcotic Delight, and I think I saw somewhere that somebody said it was a flanker. Narcotic Delight is not a flanker of Side Effect, okay? They are in the same collection from Initio. They are not flankers. They are totally different fragrances. And I think to me, the only similarity between them is that they're both boozy scents. In my opinion, Side Effect is a dark boozy scent, but there is definitely this leathery touch to it. This one is spicy, it's leathery, it's sweet boozy, but to me, this smells more like a sweet dark rum as opposed to Narcotic Delight. The alcohol in that smells like a rich cognac mixed with that cherry nuance to it. So I do not think these smell alike at all. I definitely have a place for both of them in my collection. So if you were concerned that these were gonna smell too similar, you don't need to be concerned about that. I feel like the most that they have in common is that they're boozy fragrances and they're both from Initio. The other fragrances, I do feel like they have more in common, so let's get into those. So one of the things that I kind of think about as I've been wearing Narcotic Delight is that it kind of gives me cherry coke vibes. Even though it doesn't really smell literally like cherry coke, but something about that cherry mixed with the liquor, mixed with the like cinnamon type smell kind of gives me cherry coke vibes, especially in the opening, but in a good, like expensive way. So because of that, I thought about another fragrance that I really enjoy that gives me like rum and coke type vibes. And this is Roosa Enigma Parfum Pour Homme. This fragrance is like a sexy, spicy rum and coke. I do have the Parfum Cologne version of this fragrance as well, which I love, but to me this one is probably more similar to Narcotic Delight because I find this one to be darker, deeper, spicier, whereas the Parfum Cologne to me projects more. It's more like fun. This one is more like date night appropriate. Now, this one does not smell exactly like Narcotic Delight. None of these do, but I did want to mention this fragrance because it is beautiful. So if you're looking for something that doesn't have that cherry nuance, but you kind of want the same vibe as the Narcotic Delight, this may be one you want to check out. So again, that is Roja Parfum's Enigma Parfum Pour Homme. The next fragrance I wanted to talk about is Kilian Smoking Hot. Now again, this is not extremely close to Narcotic Delight, but I do feel like they have some similarities. So Smoking Hot to me smells like a fruity hookah scent. When this fragrance opens up, I feel like I can smell something like apple and maybe plum and a little bit of booziness. And then there is this smokiness that runs all throughout this fragrance. As this fragrance dries down, to me, the smokiness comes out to play a bit more along with some woodiness, but those fruits are always still there. They're just more in the background. I would say that the reason that I decided to include this in this video is because to me, the dry down of Narcotic Delight reminds me of Smoking Hot. It reminds me more of the opening of Smoking Hot, but to me, they're in the same family. So I feel like if you like Smoking Hot, you will probably like Narcotic Delight and vice versa. Could you have both? Definitely. I definitely see a space for both of these in my collection, but I do feel like the dry down of Narcotic Delight is similar to Kilian Smoking Hot. The next fragrance I wanted to talk about is Tom Ford Lost Cherry. Now, the reason this one is included is because when I think about a boozy cherry scent, my mind immediately goes to this. So if you've never smelled Lost Cherry, it is a sweet, boozy, cherry, almond type mix. It is gorgeous. And the cherry in here, to me, it smells dripping, just like the cherry in Narcotic Delight. They don't smell alike, like the cherries don't smell alike, but they give me the same vibe. So if you have Lost Cherry and wondering if it's going to be too similar to Narcotic Delight, absolutely not. They are both boozy cherry scents, but Narcotic Delight is much more about the booze and the richness of that, as opposed to this is much more about the cherry and almond. In that same vein, we have Wet Cherry Liquor by Boho Boko, and this one is another boozy cherry scent. However, this one doesn't smell like a dark booze. This one definitely smells like some sort of like white liquor, like vodka or something like that, mixed with a more tart, more playful cherry. Once this one dries down, to me, some of that playfulness goes away and more of a leather accent comes out that makes this like a sexy fragrance. But I do really enjoy this fragrance. I don't think it's too similar to Narcotic Delight, but I feel like, again, if you like one, you will like the other. This one, again, is more cherry forward than Narcotic Delight, but I do feel like they're in the same family, the same wheelhouse. And then the last fragrance that I'm going to talk about is one that I don't talk about much, but I actually love. And I almost didn't include it because when you look up the notes for this fragrance, I don't believe there are any boozy notes in this fragrance. But to me, it smells like a boozy fragrance. So the fragrance we're talking about is Elborn from Carner Barcelona. So this fragrance to me smells like a dark liquor mixed with some spice, mixed with a little bit of musk, and mixed with some woodiness. And to me, this kind of smells like Narcotic Delight in the dry down. They don't smell exactly the same, but I feel like, again, if you like one, you'll like the other. I really enjoyed this one because this one is light enough that I could wear it year round. It also has a little bit of a brightness to it that makes it more daytime appropriate to me. And although I don't think this could be a replacement for Narcotic Delight, I definitely feel like they vibe the same. So if you like one, you'll probably like the other one. This one doesn't have any cherry in it though. So if you don't like cherry, but everything else in Narcotic Delight sounded good, then maybe you want to check this one out. So again, that is Elborn by Carner Barcelona. So those are my thoughts on Narcotic Delight and all the fragrances that I wanted to share with you that are in the same family as this fragrance. Let me know if you've tried Narcotic Delight yet. Is this something that is on your wish list? Is this something that you want to try? Let us know all that in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I have tons of content for you to check out in your free time. Also, check out my website. It's www.simplyayesha.com. Over there, I do talk about fragrances, but I also talk about other things that I enjoy. So make sure you get on my email list over there. If you want to connect with me more, follow me over on Instagram. I'm typically in my stories almost every day, and I love to chat with you all my DMs. Also, I have a TikTok, so follow me on TikTok. We keep it real chill over there, and it's just me having a good time. All the links for all my social media, along with all the links for these fragrances, will be in the description box. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoy making it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.